we had a sudden burst of rain. I want you guys to notice how the dog spot is almost completely 100% dry, meaning Doggo did not move until the rain had stopped. I would like you to further notice that the only part of the dog spot that has any water at all is the tail portion, which would seem to indicate Doggo picked up his tail at some point to wag it. Doggo had a fantastic time in this sudden burst of rain. I never knew the reason the nephews were left with Scrooge was because Donald had to literally go off with the Navy. Like, I thought the sailor getup was for show. It didn't occur to me that Donald was with the US Armed Forces. Thank you, Donald, for keeping our country safe. He also fought in the war, hence his short temper. No joke. Disney confirmed this in a freaking comic of Donald sleepwalking, then being woke up by firecrackers, which he believes his mind's in a minefield. No joke. The US government promoted Donald Duck to the rank of sergeant and gave him an honorable discharge from the military in 1984 in honor of his animated propaganda participation in World War II. My history of animation professor told us that he had to fill out special forms to look at and receive Donald Duck's US military history, at which point he mentioned how he had to take a step back from his life and question all of his choices. The flip? Venom is an example of a villain who evolved into a hero because he was popular with readers, and writers decided to rehabilitate him. By contrast, Magneto evolved into a hero because every decade since Reagan, it's harder and harder to pretend he's wrong. Poison Ivy, Magneto. Becoming heroes by being proved right. Venom, Red Hood, Jason Todd. Becoming heroes because they have a fat butt and winning personality. How dare you leave this Jason Todd discourse in the tags? Witches and cowboys are the same entity but just separated at night and day. Could you kindly elaborate on that, please? Big silly hats, dangerous aura, wands, guns, midnight, high noon, robes, ponchos, stockings with boots, chaps with boots, magic incantations, yeehaws and slang, brews potions, brews alcohol, rides brooms at night because horses are sleeping, rides horses at day because brooms are recharging, can't swim. Moonshine is an alcoholic potion brewed by witches and cowboys, moon to represent the witching hour, and shine for sunny high noons. Rootin', tootin', toilin', shootin', fire burnin', cowboy bootin', eye of Newton, spicy beans, toe of frog and denim jeans, whiskey grits and demon spittle, tossed into my iron griddle, with the tannin of our hides, something wicked this way rides. As it turns out, Herobrine is an actual username on Minecraft, confirming he's real. I know this because Minimator can go through Minecraft Java and grab the currently used skin of pretty much any Java player ever created. And it turns out Herobrine is real, and he's currently wearing a cat onesie, and words cannot express my effing confusion. Minecraft user Steve is wearing a matching onesie. This morning, my Starbucks is all women, so when I ordered, it was all, "I love your glasses, that drink is so good, have a great day, babe," which is amazing, show-stopping, incredible. But yesterday, the same Starbucks was staffed by all guys. My interaction went kinda like this. First guy, unprompted, "We're trying to help John name his scorpion." His coworker, leaning around him, "Here's a list of names, you should vote or write your own." Me, "What?" John aggressively shows me picture of baby scorpion. I told my friends that we should have a crow party where everyone brings and trades silver trinkets, and we wear black, and whoever brings the best object is crowned the crow lord/lady, but they said that's a weird and bad idea, so there will be no crow party. Get better friends! Not to be a drooling socialist beta, but if a full day's labor can't purchase 3 square meals, 24 hours worth of rent and utilities, a fraction of a month's clothing budget, and a reasonable portion to be saved for when you can no longer comfortably work, what the flip are we doing crap for? Elf Cooking Show. First person helmet cam of an elf hunting and killing a deer with their bare hands. They sing a lullaby to the deer before they snap its neck and prepare a side salad. Dwarf Cooking Show. America's test kitchen, but even more rigorous. 20 minutes of discussing how to maintain precise heat just to boil water. Halfling Cooking Show. Great British Bake Off with soap opera levels of internal drama. Everyone is stoned off their keisters. Orc Cooking Show. Edible Mythbusters. The contestants must make barbecue with a live dragon. People straight up die sometimes. Goblin Cooking Show. Goblins don't really understand the concept of restaurants, but they have a show like Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives for rooting through people's trash. Gnome Cooking Show. Gnomes don't actually have cooking shows, but if you creep up to a nearby hollow log, you can watch gnomes make cookies. Pixie Cooking Show. Two pixies in professional-looking clothes in a fancy kitchen attempt to bake a pie, but get distracted by a wild on-camera coitus that ends with cannibalism. My therapist is selling her house, so I'm gonna find the listing online and make her living room my Zoom background before our next session. You wanna get in my head? Okay, well I'm in your home, babe. I'm in charge now. Yeah, I see why they're in therapy. I love Wikipedia, and I think it is good and right to give them money, but all their funding drive messages are, well, we'll be killing ourselves tonight. We ask so little of you, and yet it seems that simply nobody cares about little Wikipedia anymore. Sad. Shipping Wikipedia and the Duolingo owl in the most toxic MLM relationship of the century. I'm cursing my followers with this one, bestie. Jeff Bezos set to be world's first trillionaire as coronavirus helps Amazon. Remember when the ants in A Bug's Life realized there were more of them, and you know what? Forget it. It's a fantastic point, but John Boyega's net worth also puts him at 6 million. When he says eat the rich, he isn't safe either. There's a pretty big effing difference between 6 million and 1 trillion, Lamau. Not to mention the way the money was made. An actor being paid for a role / doing some advertising is a world away from a man setting up a corporate money machine that horrendously exploits workers. People really need to remember this image. Robot girl who gets hypnotized while staring at a loading wheel. Throbber. A throbber, also known as a loading icon, is an animated graphical control element used to show that a computer program is performing an action in the background. Transfixed by a huge throbber? Our kid has gotten really into age-appropriate sci-fi books, and has been full of odd questions I don't know how to answer in a way that wouldn't make her feel weird for asking them. Today, I overheard her walk up to her dad and ask him where we keep our oxygen tanks. He asked, "What?" "Oxygen tanks for the house," she clarified. And without skipping a goddamn beat, he casually answers, "We don't need those. We're on a grass planet." And he carried on to explain how Earth's surface is covered in plants and that the plants produce all the oxygen we need. And she was glued on spot listening, eyes wide, when he went into detail about how photosynthesis works. No parenting class would have ever prepared me for having my kid ask me why we don't need artificial oxygen storage. Nor would it have ever crossed my mind that the right answer to that is not on this planet. They are coated in an oil that deflects bullets. I think one of the biggest reasons I enjoy JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is because I envy this level of confidence and sincerity in storytelling. See, I would not have just said something as freaking stupid as bullet deflecting oil. I would have come up with some kind of Watsonian BS magic science explanation that at least squared with the logic of the story, instead of just saying, oh, it's an oil that deflects bullets, and moving on to the next thing. But that is not because I'm a better storyteller. No, quite the opposite. It's because I'm a coward. Light Yagami is so flippin' stupid. In like a month, they narrowed it down from like, it could be anyone in the world, to it could be anyone in Japan, to it could be anyone in the Kanto region, to it could be any student in the Kanto region, to it's honestly probably one of the family members of these two policemen. And my god, this man's son is so freaking weird. What's wrong with him? Like, honestly, I think L should have just taken the risk and hit Light with a car one day and been like, huh, funny. The Kira murder stopped right. This policeman's son got hit by a car. I asked my chauffeur to drive into him. Funny how that works out. Larry the Cat, the government-appointed chief mouser of Downing Street, has now outlasted 4 United Kingdom prime ministers and 1 monarch. Have they thought of making him prime minister? It honestly can't hurt. Trust me, if we could, we would. Larry is the only stable thing we have right now. The Flat Earth Society bought a $20,000 super accurate laser gyroscope to prove the Earth doesn't rotate 15 degrees per hour, and they kept getting results that proved it does, so they kept altering the test to try and make it not drift 15 degrees, but it didn't work. So they just said, well, we still don't believe it, and we have other stuff that proves it, so whatever. Reminder that it's impossible to reason with people who are willfully ignorant. It's really weird having a first dog be blind and then getting a second who can see. Like, how was I supposed to be prepared for this? This creature can perceive when I put the treats up on the high shelf, or when I hide stuff behind my back. I can't fool her. She's always watching me, and she shouldn't have this much knowledge. I walk around at night and I shine my flashlight directly into her eyes, and I'll just be standing there, staring at her weird blue orbs for like 5 seconds, until I realize it's probably extremely annoying to her because she has eyes. I'll turn on the light in the room and she gruffs and grumbles. Like, huh? Oh right, light wakes you up. The flip? God after Adam and Eve have notion of good and evil. The absolutely wild implication of this, that God was previously playing fast and loose with his own acts of good and evil, but then had to start being considerate about what he was doing because now mankind is watching and we know. God's worst mistake was opening our eyes and mouths. For now, we can turn to him and name his sins. Found my 53-year-old, very much not online father in the kitchen today, meticulously arranging cutlery on the countertop, and I was like, what are you doing? And he looked up at me with the world's most crap-eating grin and said, your mother told me this is how you rickroll the youth. And I looked over, and it was freaking lost.jpg. I must stress that he's never seen the original comic. My mother simply showed him the shorthand symbol and he memorized it. As far as he is aware, this is just a freaking hieroglyph that deals instant psychic damage to everyone under the age of 30. Today I learned the Beatles approached Stanley Kubrick to direct a Lord of the Rings movie starring themselves. Tolkien killed the project as a result of his hate for the Beatles, a hate developed after moving 3 doors down from the Beatles in 1964, who irked him with the indescribable noise from their practice sessions. The man who spends hundreds of pages describing trees and meals and worked out the linguistics of multiple fictional languages and the entire cosmology of his fictional world called the Beatles rehearsal sounds indescribable. A job I was applying for mentioned I would be working with something called a frosted flatwood salamander, which sounded positively delightful. So I looked them up and I could not be more pleased with what this beast looks like. Like, as a coworker? I know it's slightly overblown by some people, and it doesn't apply to every single anime/manga, and the people who use it as an excuse to be racist suck, but it's genuinely pretty insane how many times I've heard some variant of X is one of the greatest anime ever made. Just try to ignore the fan service shot of a schoolgirl in episode 8, or whatever. 2 rights make a wrong. A linguistics professor was lecturing his class. In English, he explained, a double negative forms a positive. In some languages, such as Russian, a double negative is still a negative. However, the professor continued, there is no language wherein a double positive can form a negative. A voice from the back of the room piped up, yeah, right. Slow clap. Favorite linguist joke, and I will never not reblog it. We need to teach media literacy in schools. Guys, was I really the only person paying attention in English class? Be for real. We do teach media literacy in schools. Most kids just don't pay attention. We do not teach media literacy in schools. What do you mean we do? Why didn't we learn this in high school? Bruh, we did, but you were drawing a picture of an eye. Hey, I wonder what happens if I put powdered milk in a carbonated water. My cereal is loud and it's demanding to know why I would sin against both nature and God so thoughtlessly. How does it taste? Bad. The fizz comes from carbonic acid in the water splitting up into CO2 and H2 over time, and carbonic acid is, as an acid, sour. By adding milk to sour water, you've created a very convincing emulation of spoiled milk, so I'll believe in a heartbeat that the taste is not great, trademark. I have mastered the potion, instant spoiled milk, therefore earning the rank of crappiest alchemist currently alive. Holy post. My Roman Empire is the fact that Hozier wrote this. A man actually wrote this about a woman. We've circled back around to men cannot experience love. Pack it up, folks. It's over. Men famously have never written any songs or poetry or anything about love. It's a mystery, really. Crazy. All they want is coitus. A man wrote a love song for a woman is something that has never happened, ever, until Hozier came along. Just gonna start killing people I don't find funny. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-8255. Shut the flip up. People will talk about Tumblr's amazing hate mail game, but its person-to-person reply game is equally unhinged. I never watched BBC Sherlock or engaged in the fandom, and being into original Sherlock Holmes in the year 2024 feels like frolicking in a meadow that's grown up over a battlefield. Occasionally a war-weary veteran with shadows in their eyes will find me. Don't you know what happened in this place, they ask me? I literally don't, I reply, and go back to drawing guys from 1895. The battlefield was a meadow first, if you think about it. How big is the ball pit area going to be? So many. I don't know the exact dimensions right now, okay? World Heritage Post. What's not apparent from the Dashcon photographs is that the ball pit was more than 800 feet deep. My brother was making fun of me and our other brother for having the same haircut, and we were immediately like, what the flip are you talking about? You had this exact same haircut like a year ago. This is your haircut too, melonhead. So we start arguing back and forth until our mom stops us and says, come here. And she brings out her ID from when she was a teenager, and it's the same haircut. Family curse that makes it so at least one person per generation has a mullet at any given time. Everybody is drooling for the blonde guy from Dungeon Meshi. That guy is 100% real, and I know like 6 of him. What you are looking for is a marine biologist. 1 spends a long amount of time doing something weird far away from society. 2 will not stop talking about their animal. 3 has definitely eaten their animal and has strong opinions on how to cook it best. Yesterday, for April Fools, my workplace had a short training article on recognizing computer-generated faces from real ones, and one of the tricks mentioned was count the teeth. And I just want to say that it's both ironic and kind of horrifying how society has unwittingly cycled right back to, if ye meet a man on the road, count his fingers lest ye deal unknowing with the fae. Where's that image with the self-driving car that is trapped in a salt circle made of do not cross symbols that its software won't let it disobey? This one? Today I learned no studies have found MSG unsafe for consumption, and hundreds of studies have found it perfectly safe. Likewise, MSG's common reputation as unsafe mostly stems from one person's unverified complaints and speculation, and the substance has been considered safe by the USDA for 58 years. I just don't think people should be eating copies of Metal Gear Solid, sad face. Metal Sear Gollid. Cybertruck will be waterproof enough to serve briefly as a boat, so it can cross rivers, lakes, and even seas that aren't too choppy. Nothing says good idea quite like mixing extensively documented unstable lithium batteries and large bodies of water. New Tesla death unlocked! The ADHD urge to lie about why you didn't do something because my brain refused to start on it doesn't make sense to a lot of neurotypicals. Even saying, I'm so sorry, I completely forgot, sounds marginally better than, I'm so sorry, I didn't completely forget. I actually completely remembered. I thought about it the whole time and it stressed me out so much my brain built an insurmountable wall around it. The most important question you can ask yourself when designing a magic system in fiction is, wouldn't it be screwed up if this happened? Your first priority when developing a magic system should be to make it as cool as possible. Your second priority should be making the audience sick to their stomach. My magic system involves parasitic centipedes and pills and dreams in the severed heads of other mages. The centipedes, Sholo Pendragons, imbue people with the ability to cast magic. The pills, casting pellets, temporarily provide people with the ability to actually cast. The dreams, Mage Sleep, allows mages to learn spells from the fairies during their dreams, at random more or less. The heads, Changelings, are catalysts from which spells are then cast. They have to be made right after a mage dies. Sorry not sorry, I want to talk about my magic crap. There's much more, but tags aren't great for exposition. Tipsy girl at the club is a kind of paladin. 1. Immune to fear. 2. Can give people stronger saves through a charisma-based aura. 3. Can detect evil. 4. Can cast spells. 5. Can definitely smite. The logic is sound. Aperture Science announcement voice. Congratulations, homosexual! Your existence has been deemed profitable in the following regions: North America, Western Europe, and Australia. To celebrate the occasion, we have temporarily recolored all Aperture Science appliances in these regions to your favorite flavor of gay. For further pandering on a wider area, please continue fighting for basic human dignities, and Aperture Science will be right there to celebrate your victory with you. Afterwards. Boys need to be cuddled more. Put his head in your lap or on your chest. Stroke his hair. Scratch his back lightly with your nails. Rub his shoulders. Kiss him on the top of his head. Anytime, not just when he's feeling down or trying to fall asleep. When I did this to my boyfriend for the first time, he almost started crying because no one had ever done something similar to him before. And I think that is awfully sad. Pregnancy is a hoax. The baby sprouts out the ground. I've seen it happen. People pretend to be pregnant for clout. It started with one woman named DVD, and people been chasing the same high since. Meant Eve. I tried to send my stressed out girlfriend a supportive message about how smart and talented she is, but my idiot fingers only typed, "You're snart," before pressing send. Maybe your computer doesn't work because you screwed it with your ponus. I did not screw that computer with my ponus. My mom's favorite peaches come from a roadside fruit stand, and every year she greatly anticipates the stand opening and all its jams and honeys and fruits. So I was just on the phone with her, and she excitedly told me she drove by the fruit stand earlier and they'd set up a porta potty. She said, very seriously, as though it were a natural cycle of seasons, like the geese returning north or the first autumn frost. When the porta potty goes up, the fruit is never far behind. A man in Florida woke with a headache, only to discover his wife had shot him while he slept. He survived. Restoration 100, Block 100, Heavy Armor 100. So I looked up the whole story, and as the BBC reports, he also reportedly told doctors he thought his wife had elbowed him in the head during the night. A local newspaper, the Fort Pierce Tribune, quoted the sheriff as saying, "The nurse looked at him and said, 'It appears that you've been shot,' and he said, 'No way?' I legitimately want to know what the wife's reaction to this was. I know she deserves to go to jail for attempted murder, but I can only just wonder what was going through her head when she saw him get out of bed complaining of a headache. What in the goddamn? There is not a singular use better for that picture anywhere on the internet. Straight men repress their feelings so severely with their friends and family, and then they come across a girl who's been socialized to be empathetic and nurturing, and they find that they can tell this girl about their feelings. Everything's great, she's the one. In reality, they just have a normal human bond, but actually connecting with anyone is so foreign to men and their emotionally barren male relationships that it seems like something great and wonderful. So now girl is put on a pedestal that she'll eventually fall from because she's human and not just a male feelings receptacle, and everyone loses all because fathers refuse to cry in front of their sons. Whoever wrote this is brilliant. This is why I love Starfire. No, like, this scene was really important. This jerk nozzle hated her entire race and took that hatred out on Starfire. He called her slurs throughout the entire episode, and Starfire just endured it because she knew her friends loved this guy. When he is in trouble, about to die, she has every right to let him. But what does she do? She starts trying to help him, and even as she's trying to save his life, he pushes her away, throwing slurs at her face, but she presses on and ends up saving him. Do you know how important it was to see this as a kid? That no matter how much someone treats you with hatefulness and cruelty, the right thing to do when they're in danger is to help them? That's some powerful stuff for a kids show. And don't you dare look me in the eye and tell me that all of this is just superhero BS. You know, it strikes me that so many of the vaguely racist issues surrounding orcs could be easily sidestepped by just giving them a society based on Flintstone-esque paleo-suburbia. Like, entire situation gives you an easy way to preserve the image of orcs as a Stone Age tribal society without basing it on any one culture that might take egress, and it deprives detractors of any blatantly bigoted excuse to insist they're in some way intellectually inferior or an evil race. Why are we still following Blizzard's stupid mistakes when we could be doing this? My hip new communications theory is actually that millennial/Gen Z/internet native humor is so weird and abstract because of the sheer amount of words we're exposed to daily. We've heard a lot of words in a lot of different orders, so if you want to get a reaction out of us, you usually gotta put words in an order we haven't seen before. So like, normally structured jokes aren't as funny anymore, but lemon lime spine is a one-hit KO. You Are Not Alone. Matilda, directed by Danny DeVito. Hold up, Danny DeVito directed the most influential film of my childhood? Not only directed it, but starred in it, took care of Mara Wilson, Matilda, while her mother was in hospital with cancer, and even managed to get an advance copy of the movie for her to watch before she succumbed to her illness. The man is a treasure. Big fan of sun motifs and characters not necessarily being about positivity and happiness and how they're so bright and warm, but instead being about how freaking brutal they are. Radiant, a force of nature that will turn you to ash. That warmth that burns so hot it feels like ice, piercing yellow and red and white. A character being a sun because you cannot challenge a sun without burning alive or taking everything down with them if victorious. When they were little girls, they decided that they would be best friends forever. A whale never forgets a promise. Annalise Jurgensen. I have now died of joy. I don't think I've seen art of an old mermaid, mermatron, mergranny before. I love it. Oh look, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. This is really amazing, but I have to say, I read mermatron not as mermatron, but as mermatron, and I was just like, mermatron, auto whales, swim out. And I'm ruined. My brain is ruined. I'm so sorry. really love imagining a bunch of kids and teens on their Pokemon journeys, staying the night on the couches and floors and lobbies of Pokemon centers, having long talks about their experiences and feelings, sharing funny and scary stories and myths about legendaries, and trading items and sharing TMs, along with sugary snacks and Pokedex chargers, all while their Pokemon are out of their Pokeballs and all bundled up in blankets, sleeping soundly next to their trainers while they stare up at the stars shining through the glass ceiling over their heads. This is what Pokemon's all about. This is so nice. I just really like this idea, man. So I drew a thing. Trainer life. I love you people going into useless fields. I love you classics majors. I love you cultural studies majors. I love you comparative literature majors. I love you film studies majors. I love you Near Eastern religions majors. I love you Greek, Latin, and Hebrew majors. I love you ethnic studies. I love you people going into any and all small field that isn't considered lucrative in our rotting capitalist society. Please never stop keeping the sacred flame of knowledge for the sake of knowledge and understanding humanity, and not merely for the sake of money alive. I need to get groceries again! This crap happens to me all the time. I freaking hate it. Can we invent a groceries that doesn't disappear? Please. Literally worse than 9/11. They should create a law against this. This is insane! My Greek chorus. The city where we live doesn't allow public barbecues, so my brother freaking welded a grill to a handcart and now hosts chill and grill sessions where he sends all his friends his live location so they can hunt him down on their bikes with sausages in their backpacks while he carts it around, evading the police like some sort of barbecue vigilante, grilling on the run. I have never been prouder of him. New way to become ungovernable just dropped. It's Halloween, time to get spooky. It's the middle of June. It's Halloween, time to get spooky. Okay, who the fudge got this on my dash? It's still June. Get spooky. How does this appear every June? Wouldn't it be entirely possible, even likely, that with all the silly weaknesses vampires and stuff were supposed to have, they'd also turn out to be weak to any number of things that have only been invented more recently? Like, who's to say vampires aren't also repelled by the smell of Play-Doh, or driven insane by MIDI music? We've invented so much crap in just the last century, there'd be no predicting this. For all we know, they burn to ash if they look at Luigi. One time, I was working as a waiter at a burger joint where the fries were tossed in salt and coriander, and as I was bringing food over to the table for these two huge beefy guys, one of them asks what the green stuff is, so I go, it's coriander. His friend goes very seriously, you can't have coriander, and I'm thinking, crap, okay, maybe he's allergic, and guy one starts pulling up his sleeve to show me something, and I'm thinking, crap, he's probably breaking out in hives right now, and it's my fault, but he just shows me his arm. He has this huge cursive font tattoo that just says, I freaking hate coriander. Allegedly real stories. You guys just hate that I live a fun and interesting life. Oh, I don't necessarily disbelieve. That's just my tag for all real life stories on this platform, as opposed to allegedly fake stories, which is my tag for Tumblr fiction. Okay, you know what? I respect that. That's a good tagging system. Have a nice day. There are a fair few faux feminist statements I hate, but we are the daughters of the witches you couldn't burn is one of them. Historically inaccurate understanding of both who was persecuted by the witch trials and how those persecuted were typically dealt with. Check. Trivializing the torture and live immolation of real actual people by implying they somehow weren't strong or clever enough to avoid being burned at the stake. Check. Invoking a legacy that categorically does not belong to them in an attempt to claim an oppression they and their ancestors never faced. Check. Do kids these days know about Numa Numa? Do kids these days know about Aqua's Barbie Girl? Do kids these days know about Crazy Frog? Do kids these days know about Blue by Eiffel 65? Do they know about Cascadas every time we touch? The scariest thing about old TV isn't really the racism or the sexism, because you kind of go and brace for that. It's all the scenes where suddenly an actress is holding a lion cub, or a chimpanzee is in the same room as a toddler, or suddenly there's a lion, or there's a chimpanzee again, but it's driving a car, or holding a lighter, or holding fireworks. You just kind of watch in horror as over and over an actress performs with only 1960s TV film shooting's best animal handling between her and the opening to Nope. Sigh, wish that chimp finished strangling Ronald Reagan. During production, Reagan was nearly suffocated by the chimpanzee when it pulled on Reagan's necktie. After he broke free, the tie had to be cut off Reagan's neck by a crew member. Bedtime for Bonzo. This is how I learned that the famous chimp my dad got my nickname from tried to kill Reagan. Hell yeah. Rip Bonzo, we know you did your best to murder Ronald Reagan for us. I hate it when your parents are like, I know you better than you know yourself. Like, no you don't. Like, oh, you're an expert on the inner machinations of my psyche? Name 3 of my top 10 existential dreads. But I raised you! Yeah, and the only version of me that you know is the one I carefully crafted so that you wouldn't ask me questions because it became obvious early on you couldn't handle the honest answers. So what makes a butcher knife more butch than other knives? The knife itself isn't necessarily butch. It's named that because it's wielded by a butcher, who's more butch than the other food shop owners. I see. What then makes the butcher more butch than other food shop owners? The knife. My coworker said he was having a bad day, and I said, it can't be that bad. You haven't started howling like a sad dog yet. And he let out the saddest, most pathetic little howl I've ever heard. And I was like, damn, okay, do you need to have a break? Banned from manager training for making my coworker bark. Scars in fiction. I got this trying to save my lover from an assassin, but tragically, I was too late. Now I carry the mark of my failure with me always, and I can never forget. Scars in real life. So, I was trying to open macaroni sauce with a paring knife. How to go from world building to an actual plot. 1. Pick a time and place in your fictional world. 2. Imagine how current events in that time and place would play out if no outside forces intervene. 3. Imagine the sort of person who would most drastically screw everything up for everyone concerned just by showing up. 4. Introduce that person to that time and place and tell the story of the resulting catastrophe. Today I learned that the count in Sesame Street does not count all the time to teach children numbers. In folklore, vampires had arithmomania, or an obsession with numbers. This derives from the old superstition that throwing poppy seeds on the ground stopped vampires, because they had to count them all first. I like the poster's implication that the producers of Sesame Street did not put a counting vampiric count on a children's educational series to teach kids how to count. This was just an incidental side effect of their fidelity to obscure vampire folklore. Wait, are we called mammals after mammary glands? Are mammals named after chesticles? Are we the boobs class? Oh! We are. And we also named our galaxy after boob juice. Twice. Milky Way is obviously milk, but the hidden part is that galaxy comes from the Greek gala, meaning milk. It's the Gazangagoo path Gazangagoo thing. We are very, very breast-focused as a species. Immortalized. Wish I had said something better than O. Wait, I know that punk. This is an image on Tumblr that's a screenshot of Twitter, where I also am, of a screenshot of a Tumblr post. We need to go deeper. Someone, post this to Reddit immediately. Consider the monkey brain / human brain meme, but instead it's feminist brain / lesbian brain. Feminist brain, this character would never realistically fight in that outfit. Lesbian brain, titties hot. Feminist brain, gender non-conforming women as villains are queer coding and teaching us that being a lesbian / WLW / GNC woman is evil and bad. Lesbian brain, step on me hot evil lady. Feminist brain, strong female characters that only have the personality trait of fighting are as one-dimensional as damsel archetypes. Lesbian brain, girl with sword, gay. Never thought I'd see my daily struggles summed up like this, but here we are. Medusa and her gargoyle girlfriend. Everyone's assuming her petrifying gaze would have no effect here, and that's clearly wrong. It would be a healing stat buff actually. She can regenerate and strengthen her girlfriend by looking at her. Just like girlfriends in real life. Just like girlfriends in real life. A spoon's only objective in life is to make soup go upwards, and it knows this. That's why when you put one under a running tap, it blasts the water way high. The spoon thinks there's suddenly tons of soup to deal with, and it freaks out. This makes a terrifying kind of sense, smiley face. Hey, no homo, but I'm sitting on the broken swing set out back in the perfect quiet 2 a.m. blackness and picturing the softness of your voice and the darkness of your eyes with such perfect and terrible clarity that it feels like I'm choking on my own heartbeat. Now I'm eating croutons straight out of the bag. Still no homo? I'm gonna level with you, friend. I am eating these croutons gay style. If teenagers are ever being mean to you, just pull out any miscellaneous item you have on you at the moment and make up some BS term to scare them. Teenagers, we are going to punch you. Me, pulling out spoon. Have you lot ever been Uncle Jimmy'd? Teenagers, we are going to kick you. Me, pulling out an electric toothbrush. Have you all ever experienced a Norwegian Christmas? Teenagers, we are going to unlawfully take your money. Me, taking car keys out of my pocket. Say, have any of you ever had a Pacific Ocean garbage patch? Teenagers, we are going to call you mean names. Me, taking Costco brand pair of socks out of my purse. It's been a while since I gave someone a Tropic of Capricorn. Today I learned of the ancient Persian practice of proskynesis, which dictated how men greeted each other based on social standing. A man of inferior standing bowed or prostrated before his superior. A man of slightly inferior standing gave his superior a kiss on the cheek. Men of equal standing gave each other a kiss on the lips. When you see your ancient Persian friend, think of Rue. Rub, one, out. Hey guys, I need you to see this slide from my brother's college's mandatory sexual assault prevention training video, which was so bad that the school had to release an official apology. Everything about it has me effed up. World's oldest haunted house has passed away at the age of 207. Let's get it pregnant again. I think you may have a fundamental misunderstanding of maybe everything, actually. No, they could be onto something here. What's the worst that could happen? Worth a shot. Splinters in and on my penis. And yeah, they're haunted. I'm really into internet discourse, but only pointless and stupid internet discourse. Like how many holes there are in a straw? It's 2. No, it's an infinite amount of holes stacked on top of each other. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, but mathematically speaking, this question has a single objectively correct answer, which is 1 hole. This can be very simply proven. A straw and a torus are homotopic, and a torus has 1 hole. I don't think that's true. One of my friends is a torus, and he's fine with gay people. I need to recreate this truck I saw with my eyes while driving on the highway today. Give me a sec. It was like this. I like my butt rubbed and my pork pulled. Found a pic on Reddit. 10 out of 10 for accuracy. What do woodlice do at night? Woodlice sleep at night. Why do some woodlice stop moving? They're having a little sleep. Do woodlice sleep? Why do woodlice eat wood? It is because they are nice animals and want to help. Can woodlice hear? Maybe. Why do woodlice breed? Woodlice bring babies to this world by simply singing opera to another female woodlouse, and then they form a baby. How many woodlice are left in the world? Woodlice. Why are there like 5 daily chores where if you skip them for 2 days, your life becomes a time-based psychological thriller after? 1. Prostate massage. 2. Yodeling on the hilltop. 3. Turning into a bat and flying away forever. 4. Dropping banana peel at the top of every staircase in the world. 5. Uploading my insincere apology video for the day. Uploading my insincere apology of the day is top of my priorities, TBH. Growing up, the rule was we were allowed to be openly disrespectful and rude to Dad, but only if it was funny. If it flopped, then we would have to endure a lecture about where we went wrong and what might have made it funnier. Or, alternatively, he would just say, "Oh yeah, well, I banged your mom," which there aren't a lot of comebacks for. OP is from the stand-up comedian factory. People be scared of pit bulls like these demonic freaks don't exist. Accurate as hell. Also, have this from an old vet nursing textbook. If I see a young lout pull up in a 4-wheel drive with a pig dog on the back, I know I can trust his strength to restrain that brutish mutt. If I see a security officer with a bristling shepherd in tow, I put my faith in his experienced hand to curb its slavering growl. But if I see an elderly lady with a frothing chihuahua, I tremble before Almighty God. Most private thing I'm willing to admit, I'm not good at estimating how much pasta is enough for one person. There's a tool for that. I'm sorry, does that scale progress from a child to a horse? I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. I'm so hungry I could eat a small child. I'm surprised how fast this post went from measuring pasta to cannibalism. Sometimes I think about how my all-girls Catholic school's idea of a PE class was to pair 2 girls up, teach us how to dance tango, one of the most sensual dances, for a whole semester, and have us perform it as an exam, with one girl wearing a dress and the other girl wearing a coat and tie, and how they're still completely baffled on why almost half of their students are gay. So conversion therapy works, but only in one direction. Huh. How can everyone in fantasy movies always be so shocked when they see a dragon? Look around, babe. You're an elf. You live in a realm. I mean, I live in a world with elephants. Doesn't mean I'm prepared to encounter one, except under very specific circumstances. One time, I had a dream that I unlocked a secret never before discovered achievement in Disco Elysium by squeezing into various nooks and crannies and got a special capo type called Crevice Cop. Seek out and inhabit crevices like some kind of man spider. And I thought, yeah, man spider, Crevice Cop, this game gets me. And then I woke up to find that I had fallen partially down into the gap between my partner's bed and the wall, was horrifically contorted, and in agonizing bodily pain from sleeping in a position only comfortable to a brown recluse. Your body. Oh, hey, we're falling off the bed. Can you let them know? Your dream brain. You are a Crevice Cop. I hate AirPods, dude. I'd rather be broke than have two little tiny things to keep track of. Oh, there's like a carrier. Like, I'll remember the carrier when I'm barreling out of my door with the bus coming in 2 minutes. An AirPod falls out and falls into a storm drain. I fling my head around to watch it fall, and the other one flies out into the street, and my bus crushes it. I scream in agony and run up to it, and the bus just barrels straight over me because bus drivers in Chicago have 3 kill allowances a year. Always remember, gay men are the reason we don't have to pay for public bathrooms in Canada. Wait, huh? I'm Canadian. Why have I never heard about this until now? 2 gay men got arrested for having coitus in a public bathroom, but they argued since you had to pay for it, it was a hotel and it was fine. Their defense worked and we don't have to pay for bathrooms anymore. Okay guys, I know we want to celebrate victories in queer history, but 1. Googling Canada gay coitus pay toilets just brings up a bunch of readlogs of this post. 2. There does not seem to have been any sort of norm of public toilets in Canada charging money to use in the 20th century. 3. I'm neither Canadian nor a lawyer, but I find it extremely hard to believe that there's any jurisdiction on Earth where charging money to use a public toilet makes it legally constitute a hotel room and therefore okay to have coitus in. That's because I lied about this. The net zero information site strikes again. They say you die 3 times. First, when the body dies. Second, when your body enters the grave. And third, when your name is spoken for the last time. You were a normal person in life, but hundreds of years later, you still haven't had your 3rd death. You decide to find out why. You sold some crappy copper, man. I don't know what to tell ya. In terms of rock, paper, scissors, love wins. Wrong. Rock. I guess that's why lesbians U-Haul. The lease, paper, protects them from the rock, so they can safely scissor. Oh my god! You know what? I don't want to change my VPN every 6 months because it was caught selling information. I don't want to go deep into the settings of every website I so much as look at. I don't want my internet browsing to be a constant leap through hoops so that companies can't do things which should be illegal anyway. I want privacy to be the default, and for it to be difficult to take it away, not the other way around. Is that too much to ask?